Rodgers is bracing for departures. Miller snubs Celtic. El Kachati confirms he is off. And Balikwisha could finally land in Glasgow. Hit like to keep the videos coming and subscribe so you never miss a single twist in the Celtic story. Brendan Rodgers has lit the match on what could be a sizzling summer at Celtic Park, warning fans that some of the club's top names might be packing their bags. Yes, that includes fan favorites Hatate and Maeda. Not exactly what the faithful were hoping to hear, especially after the pair's tireless efforts in a title-winning campaign. Hatate, the engine in midfield, is reportedly catching the eye of Serie A outfit Udinese, while Maeda, ever the workhorse whether out wide or through the center, has Fenerbahce sniffing around. And they are not window shopping either. They are apparently ready to up the ante. Both players have been absolutely key in turning gears for the Hoops, and their departure would not just leave gaps, it would tear holes in the game plan, with another crack at European glory on the horizon and Champions League qualifiers looming in August. Rodgers will be keen to avoid a rebuild when he should be reinforcing. Last season's European run was respectable, but this time the bar is higher. Losing players who have already proven they can deliver on the big stage? That is the last thing you want. Rodgers himself has been philosophical, even pragmatic. Speaking to Sky Sports, he said he knows how this goes. Good players come in, shine under the parkhead lights, and move on. He is not wrong. Celtic's model has long included player sales, but the pressure lies in replacing them with quality, not just bodies. Let us not forget, the Hoops have already waved goodbye to Kyogo and Matt O'Reilly in recent windows. And while the green and white machine has kept rolling domestically, the void left behind is still felt. Losing Maeda and Hatate as well? That is not a squad update, that is a squad shakeup. Rodgers insists that the club is in a strong place, on and off the pitch. But with the transfer window set to be a whirlwind, it is going to take more than optimistic press conferences to keep fans calm. They will demand signings with purpose, not just potential. Celtic need players who can slot in and step up, not projects for the future. So now comes the big question, and I want to hear what you think. If Hatate and Maeda do leave this summer, and Celtic fail to bring in players of equal or greater quality, do we start pointing fingers at the board? Or should the blame fall squarely on Brendan Rodgers for not pushing harder to keep his stars? Drop your thoughts below. I am ready for the chaos. So, it looks like another rising Scottish star might give Celtic the cold shoulder. Lennon Miller, the 18-year-old midfield prodigy from Motherwell, is reportedly leaning towards a move to Italy rather than pulling on the famous green and white Hoops. And you cannot really blame him, can you? After scooping the Young Player of the Year award and dazzling across 39 appearances this season, Miller has been on the radar of clubs far and wide. Celtic were clearly keen, and rightly so. He has got vision, bite in the tackle, and a flair for the final third, with 4 goals and 8 assists to his name. But instead of joining Callum McGregor and company, he might be packing his bags for sunnier pitches. Why? Well, just look at the blueprint. Scott McTominay, Billy Gilmore, and Lewis Ferguson have gone continental and come out glowing. McTominay even scooped the Serie A MVP award after leading Napoli to the title under Antonio Conte. That kind of trajectory is hard to argue with. According to pundits like Andy Halliday and James McFadden, Miller is not just good enough for Celtic. He is too good to sit on the bench behind Reo Hatate or Arne Engels. That is the rub. At Celtic, game time might not be guaranteed. McGregor is untouchable, and if Hatate stays, Miller would be fighting for minutes. Sure, there is the glamour of Champions League qualifiers and another domestic title tilt, but if you are 18 and hungry, playing every week in Italy might sound more tempting than rotating in Glasgow. And let us not forget, this is a club that has missed out on top Scottish talents before. John McGinn, Andy Robertson, even Kieran Tierney eventually had to head out to truly blossom. So while the Celtic board ponders and plots, Serie A clubs could be zipping ahead with a contract in hand. Is Celtic losing its grip on Scottish talent? Or are young players right to look abroad instead of waiting their turn in the shadow of established stars? Here we go, another name in the ever-spinning Celtic striker carousel, and this time it is Youssef El Kachati stepping up to the mic. The Moroccan forward, fresh off a 24-goal haul in 44 appearances for Telstar, has all but confirmed he is off this summer. Where to? Well, that part is still up in the air, but let us just say, the Celtic Park scouts have not been snoozing. After Thursday's playoff thriller in the Netherlands, El Kachati spoke to the press and said, quite plainly, he is making a move. Not just any move, but a fantastic one, with the sort of conviction you normally hear from players who already know where the plane is landing. Now, whether that destination is Glasgow or elsewhere, time will tell. But with Telstar still fighting for Eredivisie promotion, he is holding off on announcements till the job is done. From a Celtic point of view, this is music to Rodgers' ears. After all, the club never properly replaced Kyogo, who left in January. And Maeda has done what he can. But let us be honest, neither have fully convinced that they are the answer up top. Meanwhile, Jota's injury on the left has exposed just how thin things are across the front line. If Maeda leaves for Fenerbahce and Ida heads back to Norwich, then suddenly Rodgers is looking at a very empty cupboard. El Kachati might not be a household name, but 24 goals speak for themselves, and he has the kind of confidence and hunger Celtic fans love. And let us not pretend this is the only name in the hat. There is Matthias Kvistgaarden, who has been linked so many times it is starting to feel like he is already on the bench, and David Strelec, whose price tag of £7.9 million was too rich in January. But with Frankfurt and West Ham sniffing around Kvistgaarden, and Strelec still not exactly on discount, El Kachati might be the clever move. Affordable, proven, and desperate to make that next step. It is the kind of deal that could pay off big time if the club acts swiftly. So let us throw this one to you. If El Kachati is available and eager, should Celtic grab him before the big boys come calling? Or is settling for second-tier Dutch goals a sign the club is thinking too small for Europe? Get in the comments and let me know, because this striker debate is far from over. Well, the door is wide open and the lights are on. Michel-Ange Balikwisha, once a long-term wish list name for Celtic, might finally be within reach. The 24-year-old winger is looking more and more likely to leave Royal Antwerp, with the Belgian side in the middle of a financial belt-tightening that would make even a Dundee accountant blush. Antwerp are reportedly aiming to raise around €30 million this summer by offloading players, and Balikwisha is right near the top of the clearance list. Injuries derailed his last few campaigns. No question about that. But when fit, the lad has serious quality. 4 goals and 3 assists in just 17 games last season, while missing 29 through injury, is not bad for a player who could be available at a discount. Celtic were interested before, along with Lila and Lens, but poor timing saw the winger sidelined just as interest was heating up. He even admitted as much himself earlier this year, saying if it were not for his injuries, he probably would have already left Antwerp. And now, with only 1 year left on his contract and the club needing cash, the stars might finally be aligning. From a Celtic perspective, this is the perfect opportunity. Jota is out long-term. The forward line needs sharpening, and Rodgers has already hinted that fresh attacking options are on the summer shopping list. Balikwisha brings pace, flair, and that raw explosiveness on the flanks that the team has sorely missed in Europe. Plus, he fits the profile. Young, talented, affordable, and hungry to prove himself. Sure, there is a risk with the injuries, but every transfer comes with a gamble. What Celtic need to decide is whether the upside here outweighs the concerns. Because if he can stay fit, this is not just a squad player, this is a potential game changer. And with Antwerp desperate to sell, Celtic could get him for far less than his real value. So here is the big one for the comment section. Should Celtic go all in on Balikwisha and take the risk? Or are the injuries too big a red flag for a club chasing Champions League glory? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a beat from Celtic's wild ride. And do not forget to check out yesterday's video. It is absolutely explosive, and you will want to see every second of it.